Today's sync sound is tearing a piece of paper in 3, 2, 1. All right, that was pretty consistent on the speed of ripping there.
I was kind of nervous I wouldn't be able to tear it.
All right, welcome to That Just Might Work, the podcast about everyday items. Jesse, how are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. Just getting over a cold.
Oh, yeah, I hear that. You're a little bit nasally today.
At least I can talk.
It's probably a good thing because the listener will be able to differentiate me from you now a little bit better.
Yeah, we usually sound a little too similar.
We've heard from some people that it sounds like just one crazy person talking to himself on a podcast, which I think is a funny idea for a show, but that's not the premise of our show. So it's Super Bowl Sunday. Go Patriots, I guess.
I think so.
Yeah,
hurts to say, but yeah.
As a Giants fan, that's the only sensible team to root for here. Let's get into today's topic. Before we do want to quickly introduce today's guest. We have a 7th and 8th grade math teacher who also happens to be my roommate, who also happens to be my fiancée. Welcome to the show, Stephanie Hayes.
Hi, guys.
Hey.
It was awkward to give you an introduction because I just say, oh yeah, here's my fiance,
right?
But needed to give you some credit. It would be cool if you were a dentist.
I know,
but
we couldn't get one of those, so you'll have to do.
You'll have to do. Math teacher was the next closest thing that we could get. Today's topic is the toothbrush. Did everybody brush this morning?
I did.
I did too. So good. I typically like to start with the definition of the item. The toothbrush, according to Wikipedia, is an oral hygiene instrument used to clean the teeth, gums, and tongue. It consists of a head of tightly clustered bristles mounted on a handle, which facilitates the cleaning of hard-to-reach areas of the mouth. I feel like somebody had a thesaurus on hands when they wrote that definition. I do have a couple of different types of toothbrushes I'd like to just quickly break down. Some of these I hadn't heard of before, so you might find this kind of interesting, or maybe you won't. You've got the standard soft bristle toothbrush. That's the one that I think we all use.
Yeah, that's what I have.
You've got the electric toothbrush, which I'm sure that we're familiar with. One note on that, most studies report performances equivalent to those of manual brushings, possibly with a decrease in plaque and gingivitis. So there's some studies that suggest that electric toothbrushes are a little bit more effective.
Yeah, I actually sort of had a question about that because I realized doing all this research, I was like, why don't I use an electric toothbrush? Like, are they actually better?
Yeah, so some studies say that they actually can decrease plaque and cases of gingivitis. Also, they have functions like timers, pressure sensors. They can encourage a more efficient cleaning process.
That's what I found is that the newer ones at least will like help you time it. They can help you, they can sort of let you know when you should switch areas of the mouth. And some of them even have pressure sensors to let you know if you're brushing too hard, which is a thing.
Right. Do you guys have experience with electric toothbrushes? I think that I did own one at one point.
I feel like when I was younger.
Yeah. What about you, Steph?
We used to have one at my parents' house that we would use.
Just one?
What was it, like the family toothbrush?
No, it has different heads to go on top.
Oh,
so everyone had their own little head, and it is nice. It tells you when to move it in your mouth because it like buzzes twice, kind of.
Oh, okay.
To like go to the bottom, and it not beeps, but buzzes a little bit more when it's about to be done.
Huh. Okay.
That's nifty.
The communal family toothbrush.
That's so gross.
We had the one.
Only one.
It's unfortunate that you were the youngest child. I assume you had to use it last after everyone else had.
I think we got it after my brothers moved out. So,
okay.
Like they were at college, so they had like their little head to go on top. But
okay, so you were third after your parents.
Not so bad.
They got ready first in the morning, and then me.
Other types of toothbrushes. I want to keep wanting to call them teeth brushes, but
I don't think
That's
that's
what they
plural.
should be called.
It's just for one
Right?
tooth.
You don't just brush one tooth. You've got interdental or interproximal brushes. That's a lot more complicated than it really is. Those are the small, typically disposable brushes that have a reusable angled plastic handle or an integrated handle used for cleaning in between the teeth. Little, not like the pickers with the... Stephanie's laughing because she keeps them in her car. It's kind of
They're my pickers.
The little floss picks we're talking about?
Yeah, she keeps them in her car so she can just kind of floss as she's driving around. Which
I have like two different types though. I have the floss ones, but then there's like little scrubby.
yeah, and the little scrubby ones are interdental brushes.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
they're awesome.
See, she is qualified for this episode.
Yeah, she's kind of a thorough brusher,
I
you
am.
might say.
Well,
Yeah.
I don't know. My dentist might disagree. But
We should have had your dentist on the show. That would
we should have.
just kind of like a performance review.
Yep.
You have sulca brushes. A sulca brush is a type of toothbrush used specifically for cleaning along the gum line adjacent to the teeth. Bristles usually shaped in a pointed arrow pattern to allow closer adaptation to the gums.
Ooh.
I can't say I've seen those.
I think I have. They're those toothbrushes that have that thing on the other side of it. I don't know. I think old people have them for dentistry.
Yeah,
That could be, yeah.
this sounds like an old person brush, kind of. You have end tuft brushes. It's a small round brush head comprised of 7 tufts of tightly packed soft nylon bristles trimmed so that the bristles in the center can reach deeper into small spaces. I can't even really picture what that looks like, to be
It
honest.
kind
with
of
you.
sounds like a regular toothbrush, honestly.
Yeah. Then this is cool. I hadn't heard of these. You have chewable toothbrushes. These are miniature plastic molded toothbrushes which can be placed inside your mouth. While not commonly used, they are useful to travelers and sometimes available from bathroom vending machines. Have you guys ever seen this?
No, but I was thinking of it.
Yeah, I did too. When I heard that this existed, I thought, how can we improve that and just make it like so I can brush my teeth on my drive to work?
Is
You
it
know?
weird that my first thought was, are they swallowable? Do you like chew it and then
No.
when you're done, you swallow it?
They're-
What if it dissolves as you chew it?
Yeah,
That would be kind of awesome.
Maybe that's your idea.
Like a gobstopper.
Like gobstoppers for your teeth.
Yeah, right. They are available in different flavors, such as mint or bubble gum. Should be disposed of after use, they note. Other types of disposable toothbrushes include those that contain a small breakable plastic ball of toothpaste on the bristles. I think I've used one of those before.
Yep. Those are like
when
little
you're
travel
traveling.
things. Yeah.
Yeah. And those can often be used without water. And then there's ecological toothbrushes. A chewable toothbrush with a miniature plastic molded. The toothbrush is plastic molded, which can be placed inside the mouth. While not commonly used, they are useful to. No, this I'm reading the chewable toothbrush thing again. I copied and pasted the same thing.
I was gonna say.
It's like this is sounding really familiar. No, ecological toothbrushes are ones that I think are just used of recyclable materials because in my research I learned that toothbrushes actually they're non-recyclable and they do contribute to a lot of waste because they're supposed to be replaced frequently.
Right. And I imagine the travel ones too. You're just using those once and throwing them out. So
Right. So
Maybe it's wooden.
well, there are wooden toothbrushes and we'll get to that. But yeah, I believe, I copied the wrong thing from Wikipedia here, my source, that those were like biodegradable and made of recycled materials.
Okay.
Moving on, a little bit of toothbrush adversity. There's actually, they say that you should replace your toothbrush when the bristles get too soft. Bristles can also be too hard. A study by University College London found that advice on brushing technique and frequency given by 10 national dental associations, toothpaste and toothbrush companies, and in dental textbooks was completely inconsistent. There's a lot of, how hard should the bristles be? How long should you brush for? How should you brush, etc. One thing to note, the consensus is that you should replace your toothbrush somewhere between 6 and 16 weeks of use.
I replace mine when the dentist just gives me a new one.
Yeah, I probably use like 2 a year. That's
like
that's
maybe
probably not
3,
good.
but
Yeah.
like no more than 3.
Yeah. What about you, Jesse?
I think 2 to 3 times a year sounds right. Sometimes I'll take my toothbrush with me on like a business trip, and then when I get back, I'll like get rid of that one and start a new one.
Right. Notes on the proper technique. I read this. I'm trying to think which episode I had a similar experience, but in reading,
that would be the shovel. Yeah,
the shovel.
You're gonna tell me you should bend your knees while brushing your teeth.
Yes, no, but I did feel like I wasn't doing it correctly, and I have actually since sort of changed the way that I'm brushing my teeth. So maybe we can improve some teeth brushing practices with our listeners here. The proper technique: the front and backs of teeth should be brushed with the toothbrush at a 45-degree angle towards the gum line, moving the brush in a back and forth rolling motion that makes contact with the gum line and the tooth. Do you guys do that?
I think I do, actually.
45-degree angle?
Like that's
I haven't measured. Actually, 45 does sound kind of steep.
You don't have like a protractor out when you're
like maybe the
just wait till we
top-
get to my idea. No, I'm kidding.
What were you gonna say, Steph?
I would say like maybe the top I'd get at a 45-degree angle, but like you have to get your arm up to get your bottom teeth to get that 45-degree angle.
Right.
It sounds like a lot of contorting.
Yeah, it sounds uncomfortable.
I don't know if I'm that bendy.
To brush the backs of the front teeth, the brush should be held vertically to the tooth and moved in an up and down motion. The chewing surfaces of your teeth are brushed with a forward and back motion with the toothbrush pointed straight at the tooth.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
I had to picture it, but I get that.
I know. I'm imagining that some people listening in their vehicle right now are like
Miming the toothbrush. Yeah.
Like, am I doing it right? On to history. The history of the toothbrush, surprisingly interesting, much like many objects on That Just Might Work. The early history of the toothbrush, I always like to ask Jesse, you want to take a guess as to when toothbrushes first became, in any form, a thing?
No.
And maybe why?
This one feels harder than some of the other ones. I feel like they had to do that a long time ago, probably even pre-Jesus. I'm going to go 1350 BC.
1350 BC. Okay. You want to take a guess, Steph?
You already told me.
Oh, okay. Then don't. I get really excited about these episodes. And throughout the course of the week, I'll be like, Steph, did you know that the toothbrush was invented by...
Yeah.
No. So before the invention of the toothbrush, a variety of oral hygiene measures had been used. This has been verified by excavations in which chew sticks, tree twigs, bird feathers, animal bones, and porcupine quills were recovered for oral hygiene practices.
I guess I should have like asked a clarifying question of like, are we talking the modern toothbrush so that you'd recognize it, or does like the chew stick count for me?
No, I think that I said in any form of
Okay, good.
Oral hygiene.
So I have a
cleaning
chance.
Device. Chew sticks were twigs with frayed ends used to brush the teeth, while the other end was used as a toothpick. The earliest chew sticks discovered in Mesopotamia in 3500 BC.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you were, what, like 1,500 years off?
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of years, but I'm just happy I was on the right side of,
Of Jesus?
Yeah. Basically.
They were found in an Egyptian... Oh, no, sorry. They were also found in an Egyptian tomb dating back from 3000 BC and mentioned in Chinese records dating from 1600 BC. So maybe you were thinking about Chinese records.
That's what it was.
Jesse.
That's it.
Chew sticks actually remain common in Africa and rural southern United States.
Oh, interesting.
Also, in the Islamic world, the use of a chewing stick known as a miswak, I may be saying that incorrectly, is considered a pious, or is it pious? Action?
Yeah.
And has been prescribed to be used before every prayer 5 times a day. They've been used by Muslims since the 7th century. So they kind of clean their teeth before
I was gonna say,
each prayer.
Oral hygiene is part of their religious ceremony. I like that.
I wonder, do Muslims have very good oral hygiene because they're brushing so frequently, or is it not so good because they're using a stick?
Good question.
I don't know, like dogs chew on sticks to clean their teeth.
That's true.
Maybe.
Like those dentist sticks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They must
Like,
work
it
somewhat
depends
well.
on, like, what is the texture of them? I guess that would be the key factor.
Yeah. Well, when I think of like ideal oral hygiene, I don't think of my dog. So
Oh, sure.
But it is healthy for their teeth.
yeah, it is. The modern toothbrush. Modern toothbrush did originate in China. The first bristle toothbrush resembling a modern one, found in China during the Tang Dynasty, the years 619 to 907 AD, consisted of hog bristles. They were sourced from hogs living in Siberia and northern China because the colder temperatures provided firmer bristles. They were attached to a handle manufactured from bamboo or bone. Those sound like badass toothbrushes.
Again, yeah, just really cool toothbrushes. I mean, I'm a little grossed out because you're just attaching pig's hair and then rubbing it on your teeth.
Right.
But okay.
The bristle toothbrush spread to Europe, brought from China to Europe by travelers. In Europe, and this is hold on to your seats here, because this is where the toothbrush history gets like kind of awesome.
Okay.
It was William Addis of England is believed to have produced the first mass-produced toothbrush in the year 1780, not that long ago.
No.
So we went with these like bone, bamboo, boar, bristle brushes for a very long period of time, thousands of years. In 1770, William Addis had been jailed for causing a riot. While in prison, he decided that using a rag with soot and salt on the teeth was ineffective and could be improved. I just thought that was a really obvious thing.
Yeah, it took a while for them to realize that.
I'm guessing that was like his way of trying to clean his teeth while he was in jail.
Oh, sure.
After saving a small bone from a meal, he drilled some small holes into the bone and tied into the bone tufts of bristles that he had obtained from one of the guards. Passed the tufts of bristles through the holes in the bone and sealed the holes with glue. This was his like prison toothbrush, and I guess it was somewhat effective. And this was the first one that I don't want to say it was the first one that resembled a modern toothbrush, because we did have those with the boar bristles. Yep. But after his release, he became wealthy when he started a business manufacturing toothbrushes. He died in 1808, bequeathing the business to his eldest son. Now get this, the Addis Family Toothbrush Company, that's not the name of it, remained in family ownership until 1996.
Wow.
So this guy who was in jail made some sort of modified toothbrush, got out, was like, there's got to be some money in this, created a business that existed for, hundreds of years.
That's awesome.
Under the name Wisdom Toothbrushes, the company now manufactures 70 million toothbrushes per year in the UK.
Damn.
Wow.
Yeah. I know, it was really exciting, wasn't it?
Ooh, no.
I might have set your expectations a little too high. By 1840, toothbrushes were being mass-produced in England, France, Germany, and Japan. Pig bristles were being used for cheaper toothbrushes, and badger hair.
Oh, they're still using animal hair.
Yeah.
Kind of gross.
I know. Well, I have like a shaving brush that uses badger hair.
But it's not in your mouth.
Yeah, exactly. That is what I was going to say.
Fair point. Then, where do we leave off here? The first patent for a toothbrush granted to H.N. Wadsworth, 1857, in the U.S., but mass production in the United States did not start until 1885. And believe it or not, in the U.S., brushing teeth did not become routine until after World War II.
What were we doing?
When the American soldiers, that is, had to clean their teeth daily. I don't know. I think that people were losing their teeth, cavities and such, gum disease,
chew sticks.
I think they didn't really put it together that like we should be brushing our teeth twice a day to prevent these things until after World War II.
Well, we were a new country. It was hard.
We had our focus in other areas at
right.
that time. During the 1900s, celluloid gradually replaced the bone handles. Natural animal bristles were also replaced by synthetic fibers, usually nylon, by DuPont in 1938. The first electric toothbrush was called the Broxodent. Invented in Switzerland, 1954. Johnson & Johnson, a leading medical supplies firm, introduced the Reach toothbrush in 1977. This was the first toothbrush to have a specialized design intended to increase effectiveness. It had like an angled head and I think maybe sloped bristles. It's notable because this is, the first invention where they started to be like, all right, we do need to be more effective about cleaning our teeth. To prevent,
And I think that product line is still around, Reach.
Yeah, it is. And in January 2003, the toothbrush was selected as the #1 invention that Americans could not live without, according to Lemelson MIT Invention Index. What do you guys think? The one invention that you could not live without?
I mean, I think literally you cannot live without one because gum disease. You can die a lot earlier. At least that's what the signs of my dentist tell me.
That's true. The gum disease, because you can get an infection in your mouth and then it travels in your bloodstream.
I mean, like, I've never heard of someone dying from gum disease, but I think
I do think gum disease is linked to heart disease. Actually, not like you get gum disease, you're going to get heart disease, but I think there is a correlation there.
Yeah. So I don't think that they meant that literally.
No, they mean like it just like socially, you kind of need one.
Yeah, like if there's one invention, like your cell phone, for example, like could you live without it? If it was between your phone and your toothbrush, you could only have one of them. Which one are you picking?
I would choose the toothbrush.
Yeah.
I think it's like unattractive if people don't brush their teeth.
Yeah, you would have gross teeth. You would have bad breath.
You would lose teeth.
Can I have my cell phone and a chew stick? Because that would change the...
You can have a chew stick.
That might change the equation.
So that is the history of the toothbrush.
All right.
I thought it was actually kind of a more interesting one.
Yeah.
Before we jump into resume, trashing the toothbrush and talking about our inventions and innovative news, let's take a little break to play our new favorite game, What's That Sound?
Ooh, okay. I'm ready.
The score thus far, I think it's 2-0 guests to Jesse.
Yes.
I've recorded something from inside my house. I do think that Stephanie has a slight advantage because she lives in the same house.
Yep.
This is it's an everyday item. I've got 3 clips. They range in difficulty from most difficult to least difficult. The first person to guess what the item is going to win the point. Are you guys ready?
Yeah.
All right, clip number 1. And you will get, one guess per clip. One final answer, I should say. Here's the first clip. And that's clip number 1.
Ooh.
Kind of sounds like a gun, but I know we don't have one.
It's always a gun. I want to say like a typewriter. I don't know if that makes any sense.
I do own 2 typewriters, so I think you knew that. So that's a pretty good guess. It's not a gun.
And it has to click. It's like we don't have a fancy blender, so it's not that.
It's funny that people always guess the same. Gun, blender.
This is kind of how when we are coming up with episode topics, we're like, man, I can't think of everyday objects. It's the same thing when you're trying to guess one on the spot.
Yeah. All right, so you don't have a guess, or are you going with blender?
Like, maybe it's the washing machine. But we always guess that too, so I'm just going to go with washing machine.
All right, not a washing machine, not a typewriter. Here's clip number 2. Not a whole lot to work with there. That probably should have been the first clip.
Yeah, that was harder.
Are these in order of what it sounds like when you use it?
Ooh.
Good question. Yes.
So it makes that clicking sound and then it sounds like wood?
Correct. It makes this. And then this is the next sound you hear.
No, just kidding. You already did the Keurig.
Oh, yeah.
You already did the...
Just to give you a visual reference, Stephanie leaped out of her chair with excitement over nothing.
Typical.
Okay, so not the Keurig. You want to guess something else?
I'll let Jesse go first.
It's Jesse? Not a... Sorry, it's not a printer?
Not a printer.
I'm like looking around my apartment. I'm like, I gotta have something that makes that noise.
You guys are terrible. I'll tell you this. It's in the kitchen.
Well, I figured it was in the kitchen, but...
Why'd you figure it was in the kitchen?
Because it's like an electronic device. of some sort, and we have a lot of gadgets.
I thought you said you heard wood. Was there wood in the second sound?
Like, I feel like it's a knife sharpener.
A knife sharpener?
But we don't have one.
We do have a knife sharpener.
We do?
Yeah. It's in the silverware drawer.
Well, like, no. Like a
The more you know.
Like, not like the metal one, like an electronic one. We don't have one of those.
Yeah. All right. Not yet.
Give us
Jesse.
the third sound.
All right. Third sound. That's the third sound.
No.
Every time.
Is it the KitchenAid?
No, not the KitchenAid. Good guess, though.
I thought that might have been a can opener.
That is an electric can opener.
Hey.
It's probably because I can never get it to work.
Stephanie doesn't use the electric can opener. She makes me use it for her.
I don't think I understand what that first noise was.
I get it now.
Okay, so that was intended to throw you off because our electric can opener has like a cord that retracts out of the body.
Oh, okay.
So that's what that sound was.
I can hear that now.
And then, this is the actual can opening function.
Yep, I recognize that.
So
Yeah.
it's kind of sad that Jesse got the point, yet you live with the item.
But the thing is that I tried to use that the other day, and I put the can upside down, and it didn't work, and I was very frustrated. I've never gotten a can to open on it.
Yeah. Sounds like user error.
I thought she was going to say,
Probably.
I used it the other day, but I was wearing earplugs, so I don't
So I have no idea what it sounds like.
All right, congratulations, Jesse. It's 2-1.
Okay, come back
what's that
time.
sound. Back to the toothbrush. Let's talk about why it sucks. Stephanie, why don't you go first? Tell us, what do you hate about the modern toothbrush?
Okay, so I dislike that it takes a lot of time. I can't multitask as I do it. And you have to do it 2 times a day for 2 minutes. And I did the math because I'm a math teacher.
No.
And if it's 4 minutes a day, 365 days a year, that's 1,460 minutes every year, which is a little over 24 hours per year.
Oh my God, we waste a whole day.
Yeah, that's
You're
a wasted
brushing
day.
your teeth. I know.
And a year?
That's just for 1 year.
A whole day. So, I mean, over a lifetime, what's the average lifespan?
72.
72. It's like we're losing like
72.
72 days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
So, I don't know. I just really don't like how I can't multitask. Like, you can't look away from the mirror as you're brushing your teeth.
I walk around the whole house.
You do.
You know, I do multitask. It's probably not a good idea.
No.
But
And also, like, I didn't know that there was the controversy between hard and soft bristles for a little while. I went to go buy a toothbrush before, and I looked and I saw a soft, medium, hard, and I picked up the medium one, and then I got home and my mom was like, "You're not supposed to use that. You can only get the soft ones." Like, there's just too much to...
Was this an attachment for the family? Communal electric brush?
She's like, it's okay. You can use the family one.
It wasn't an attachment.
Well,
for
we should mention this. Stephanie, your mother
was a dental hygienist.
Was a dental-
Or a dental assistant.
dental assistant.
Yes.
Okay. And mine and Jesse's mother is a dental hygienist. So we do have a little bit of
Yeah, pretty
oral
qualified. Yeah.
hygiene qualification, I
Got
think.
some nice teeth.
It's in the family.
Yeah.
All right. I also wrote that it's time consuming. I wrote that it's not really effective. The fact that we need like different tools for getting in between our teeth is annoying to me.
Yeah.
I don't floss nearly as often as I should. And there is a lack of consistency and effectiveness from brush to brush. You know, you buy one toothbrush, you get a new one. Like, you wouldn't even know it if you were doing a shittier job because your toothbrush is, you know, your bristles are too hard or something.
Right.
And from brushing to brushing, you know, some days you're doing a better job than other days. What about you, Jesse? Did we hit on all of your points?
I think most of them. I also don't like that I can't multitask. You kind of just have to stand there and do it. I agree. I have no idea if I'm doing a good job, like, other than, you know, the once or twice a year I see a dentist. It'd be nice if there was like more feedback somehow. Besides that, I guess I hate overall having to do it. I wish we didn't have to.
Right. Agreed. All right. Let's jump into the innovative news. What did you find in terms of inventions for modern toothbrushes?
I have to say that I think the toothbrush might be the most innovative product on Kickstarter. Like,
Wow.
usually I look things up and I'm like, oh, there's 3 to look at. There were, I don't know, over 50 toothbrushes probably. And I narrowed it down to the ones that I thought were worth mentioning.
Were there a lot of similarities between these? I can't think of too many different, I mean, other than my genius idea, which we'll get to. I can't think of too many ways you could really modify it.
A decent chunk of them are just like, kind of like cosmetic improvements. You know, they look cooler, they store better, you know, stuff like that. Nothing too exciting.
All right. So what did you find?
Okay. There's one that I'll mention, but I skipped right over, and I'll tell you why. It's called the 3 Deep, and they were successful. They raised $25,000. The first line of their video was, "Have you ever wished your toothbrush could double as a facial massage?"
No.
And I said no, and I went to the next one. But apparently enough people did want that, and it was successful. For that, you just attach like a different head to the electric toothbrush, and you can rub it on your face.
Oh, but not at the same time. It's like a separate attachment.
Yeah, it's a separate attachment, but
I thought it was at the same time too.
Yeah.
see, we just want to multitask over here. I need to be able to wash my face and teeth.
You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of my immersion blender. Like, I get a toothbrush that I can also put the immersion blender attachment on.
Yeah, right. Like, why stop at the facial massage?
Exactly. It should be like a beard and nose and ear hair trimmer.
Yeah. The second one is called the Colibri. I think that's how you say that. This is they're claiming it's like the first connected smart toothbrush. Also successful, over $100,000. And it's a pretty regular electric toothbrush, but it does give you, information on how long you brush your teeth, how often you brush your teeth, and it tries to tell you any zones that you're neglecting in your mouth.
Okay. I like that.
I like that. So you get a little bit of that feedback.
Yeah.
The third, the Transformer brush. This is a cool idea. I think their idea was to use it mostly for like camping and such, but it's basically an attachment that you put on the top of a container of toothpaste, and it just turns basically that into your toothbrush. So the toothpaste comes up this little stem and right out onto the bristles, and you actually hold the toothpaste as you're brushing.
It's like one of those dishwashing sponges where it's like it's got the handle and the soap inside of the handle.
And I think it's a cool idea, except I just don't think it would work once your toothpaste starts running low. Like, your handle would be very flimsy.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I don't know. When I travel, I sometimes forget things like toothpaste, and I wouldn't want to borrow someone's toothpaste who was like it was on their bristles.
Yeah, you would have to use their brush.
No, I just want their toothpaste.
She's got the family brush from home. She doesn't need theirs.
I don't need that.
Yeah, what happened when you would go on a trip? Would your family just be without a brush? Or
you just bring the one?
We would leave it at home. We would take travel once.
All right.
And
yet another one, Jesse?
Yeah, the last one, which I think you guys are both familiar with, this is a very successful Kickstarter, raised over $3 million, called the Ama Brush. And
yes. I think I saw that this is the 28th most successful Kickstarter campaign ever.
Yeah, I believe it. This, just for people, for listeners, it's like a dental tray style mouthpiece that you put in your mouth, and it brushes all of your teeth at once automatically.
Yes.
Supposedly finishes in 10 seconds.
I don't believe it.
Yeah, so here's the thing. When I found this, I was like, geez, it looks like something that would have been a crazy idea that I would have on that Just My Work.
Yeah.
And I was like, how am I going to come up with something better than this? But then I started to do some research, and I did start to question the effectiveness of it. I read somewhere that it may have been on Reddit because we did try to crowdsource some ideas as per usual, that fluoride requires minimum 30 seconds contact time to be effective.
Yeah.
So 10 seconds of brushing with any kind of toothpaste is not going to work that well. On top of the fact that not everyone has the same shaped mouth.
Yeah, I thought of that too. This is it's supposed to be one size fits all, but that's not really going to be the case.
Right.
And okay, to their credit, I guess they admit this. So on their Kickstarter, they say Ama Brush is not meant to be better than your regular toothbrush, which is kind of disappointing. But I think their goal is just to say, a lot of people either are really bad at brushing their teeth or just don't even do it. And this is supposed to help them out, like to get them one step above where they already are.
They should have gone with a slogan like, yeah, it's better than nothing.
That's basically their strategy.
Yeah, and I guess you could kind of like travel with it, right? You could just have it in your purse or whatever. And just. But the only other issue that I take with it is that it kind of looks like a ball gag or something.
It does, yeah.
When it's in your mouth.
Yeah.
It's sort of awkward looking, and if I saw somebody wearing it like while driving, I would think it was very funny.
Yep. So I think that's really the major innovations.
Yeah, so actually, I actually reached out to nbsp because I wanted to do an interview to have them on our show, and I got a sort of generic like response that said, "Thanks for your interest. We are so busy right now that we can't do that." And I assume that I took it to mean, we don't want to be on your shitty podcast.
I just feel like they got over $3 million and they're supposedly really busy in production, but I feel like in like 2 years, like no one will have heard of this. I don't think it's going to be like a, well-received product.
Yeah.
They're going to prove you wrong now. They're probably going to listen to this episode.
Get at me, nbsp.
I hope they do. I hope they do, because I think I would have been a lot more optimistic and, promoting of the nbsp had they not rejected us.
Right. Yeah. We should bleep out every time we said their name.
Yeah. nbsp. More like stupid brush. Anyway,
good one.
Let's get into That Just Might Work, our ideas. As I mentioned, I did crowdsource. I checked Reddit to try to find the appropriate subreddit to ask the question in. I went to Our Dentistry. Only got one response to my question.
Not a very big subreddit, I imagine.
Well, there's actually 16,000 subscribers to it. I asked, what do you think is the future of the toothbrush? I got one response from someone who basically said, and we get this all the time. I made a point to say the modern form of the toothbrush with the handle and the bristles has existed since 600 AD roughly. And I felt like, we need some innovation. We need a new form factor. This person commented to say that the reason why it hasn't changed is basically because the form factor is perfect. And that frustrates me because that's why we don't see innovation, because people are like, it's perfect as it is.
Right.
Also went to Ask Reddit, asked what is the future of toothbrushing. I like the top answer. Somebody said some kind of light or something that you just stick in your mouth and it eradicates bacteria on your teeth in a matter of seconds. No flossing or brushing.
That would be cool.
Yeah. I think that's something like that might be possible, right?
I did think a little bit about that because a lot of, as I was looking at Kickstarters, there's a lot of these like toothbrush sanitizers that use UV light. And I was like, why are we using the light on the toothbrush and not just right on our teeth?
Right. So
I don't know.
I like that idea. I also stumbled upon a subreddit for something called teeth drumming.
Is that exactly as it sounds?
Yeah, it's basically, I don't want to do it on the microphone. I feel like it'll be really unsettling. But it's a collection of people that just chatter their teeth in a rhythmic pattern, and it's like it's their hobby. And I just thought that was really strange, and I should mention it.
Yep.
I wonder how many of them chip their teeth.
Yeah, and they talk about the fact that they go to the dentist, and the dentist is, tells them that they have a lot of wear on their teeth, but they're just sort of proud of it because it's really, there's actually 1,500 people subscribed to this.
Wow.
Our teeth drumming. So if you want to check that out, there was a YouTube video. I'm not even going to play it, but you want me to go with my idea first?
Sure.
You stole one of my things.
Yeah, so Stephanie and I, before we decided she was going to be on this episode, I usually kind of, throw ideas back and forth with her. We've mentioned her on the show in the past because she does have some pretty good ones at times. Maybe you should go first.
How about you give me credit in yours?
Well, I don't remember or what facets of my idea I may have stolen. Why don't you go first, and then, you can take credit.
It'll be clear what Jason stole from you.
Yes.
Okay. So, I'm sure you guys have probably seen on Facebook, there is a video that rubs these cats' cheeks like it's this device, and it goes around your cat's cheeks and rubs them.
Do you know what she's talking about, Jesse?
No.
All right, so it's like a handle, and it has like two arms that come off of it with like little roller contraptions.
Oh, it's
And
like
then
a facial massage for cats.
Yes.
Yep, I've seen
yes,
it.
and you just kind of press it against the cat.
Okay.
and they love it.
So that's where my idea stemmed from. Shocker.
Mind you, we have 3 cats, so
Yep.
we're cat people.
So instead of using this for cats, it would be like a 2-sided brush that you put in your mouth. So you can brush twice as fast, and this would be electric. And it would have this flossing mechanism in it that can go in between your teeth afterwards. And I think that it would cut down on the time a lot, not so much the multitasking part.
Okay.
And since it's electric, you could detach the head from it, just like you can with modern day electric toothbrushes. And if you wanted to, you could put in like a water pick mechanism into it.
Okay.
So you can use that as a water pick as well. And for good time's sake, I don't know if you guys remember, in the 90s, there were those toothbrushes where you could play like your favorite song
Yeah.
on them.
I forgot about those.
So you can listen to like a pump up jam as you're getting ready. And at the end, it would pop a mitt in your mouth to freshen up your breath.
Oh, damn.
But
It's
on
like a
top of
Pez
all-
dispenser, too.
Right? It's like a little treat at the end of your brushing. If you do it
That's the part of the idea that I stole.
Yes. But on top of this electric toothbrush mechanism, I would want it to have a Bluetooth function where it could analyze your teeth as you're brushing. And you can have an app on your phone, and it tells you if you're cleaning your teeth enough or if you have like any problem spots or cavities. And it can send updates to your dentist. And likewise,
shit.
so likewise, if you go to the dentist office, they sometimes tell you that like, oh, you need to like watch this side of your mouth. Like you could potentially get a cavity there. Like they can update you of what spots you really need to work on.
I really like the integration with the, it sends data to your dentist.
Yeah. then
Like
you're
I
really
like
on
it, but
the
I
hook.
don't like it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think it would be helpful for people who are trying to be more conscious about brushing their teeth.
And I think,
Yeah.
let's be honest, whether or not you lie to your dentist, the dentist is going to know. So
Yeah.
it's like, you might as
You
well
have to-
sort of be on the hook and have some sort of,
It's good because I think that people do lie to the dentist, right? Like
Yep.
they ask if you've been flossing, and you're like, "Oh yeah, every day." It's like once a month.
yeah.
Yeah.
And the dentist knows when you're lying.
Yep.
So this kind of eliminates that whole thing. Like he's already, the moment you walk in, he's got the data from your toothbrush.
Yeah. Like he already knows where to look in your mouth. Like if you
You
have
can
a
also
cavity or
see that
something.
you've been listening to like a lot of R. Kelly while brushing your teeth. Or, like,
It's my pump up jam.
yeah, other weird habits.
My body.
Maybe they can play that music for you while you're at the dentist.
Yeah.
So then they have like a feel of what you actually like. You
Hell yeah.
can have like a Spotify playlist for your
Stephanie's
own
coming in.
dentistry.
Put on the R. Kelly.
I would have
That's
some
nice.
Usher or something.
All right, so I want to ask you a question. So it's modeled after the cat face massager.
Yep.
Which as you press it, it expands.
Yes.
Do you rock this back and forth in your mouth? Because that's the only component of your device I take issue with is
Yeah, like you still have to move your arm, but like you're moving it like in and out.
okay.
So it's brushing your teeth for you. So like there's the bristles on the sides of your teeth and on
And
the bottom.
as you press it towards your mouth, it gets to the back of your mouth and expands.
Yes. Yep. So it like moves to your mouth.
I don't know if you see what I'm getting at, Jesse, but if you imagine you're holding the brush in front of your face,
It's entirely
fist,
mimicking a blowjob, if
and
that's
then
what you're
open your mouth and just move it back and forth.
And you're doing the motion right now. It's
And you're
great.
listening to R. Kelly.
And
the
your
only thing I take
dentist
issue
is
with.
watching.
Right.
Put a camera in that.
All right. Well, I'll go with my idea. I did steal a couple of Stephanie's ideas. Mine, and I'll tell you the name right off the bat. It's called the mouthwash.
Oh,
Wow.
I feel like that could get a little confusing, but okay.
No, so it's like it's 2 words. The mouthwash.
Is it like the car wash?
It's not. It is like
Oh.
the car wash. So that was the next thing I was going to say is I want you to think about the not touch-free car washes and not the ones that you go through. That you drive through, but the ones that you park inside of, and then like the scrubbers come up and go around your car.
They move around the car. Okay.
Yeah. It's kind of like that.
Oh God. Is this like wall mounted? I'm so scared.
Yeah, so it's probably mirror mounted. And it's a device. It's like dental tray shaped. You put your mouth onto it and close your mouth around it, and you press start. And now it's going to go through different cycles, much like a car wash. It's going to do a pre-rinse. It's going to do a scrub. It's going to do a rinse. Then it will probably do a secondary scrub.
Sure.
Then there will be a floss cycle. It's going to have to learn your mouth, obviously, to do these things correctly. Right. And then at the end, it pops a breath mint in. So
that was my idea.
I did inadvertently steal the breath mint idea. Mine also has Bluetooth and Wi-Fi integration. I don't think I stole this from you because I think I had thought of this on my own.
I think we thought of it separately and just coincidentally.
Yeah.
That's how you know it's a good idea.
That it would do some, analyzing of your brushing, how frequently you're brushing, problem areas, etc. And that's going to connect to your phone and onto an app for the mouthwash. So you can kind of see, oh yeah, I need to go get that spot checked out at the dentist.
Okay.
The last bit of integration I think that toothbrushing would benefit from, and this is kind of along the same lines as your dentist knowing when you're brushing. I said a little bit of social integration, and I think about devices like the Fitbit, where you have your own Fitbit social network where you can see how much your friends are walking, and that encourages you to do more walking.
Right.
You're gonna brush your teeth a lot.
Yeah. So this is like an app for the mouthwash where you have all of your friends, and it's updating every time you brush your teeth, right? Because you want to brush your teeth like 2 to 3 times a day, and it's gonna log that, and your friends are gonna be able to see.
Oh, this is just so judgy.
How frequently and for how long and how thoroughly you are brushing your teeth.
Oh,
do you
God.
get badges like you do on Fitbit? Like,
yeah, there could be trophies.
You've brushed your teeth for 4 hours of your life.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, exactly. And you brush your teeth 7 days in a row. You get the week-long trophy.
Week badge.
The week badge.
You get the bronze.
Yeah, so that is that's my idea. The mouthwash.
I just think the concept seems so hilarious. Like you walk into the bathroom at night and there's just like this weird wall-mounted pole with a mouth thing on the end.
Like you think mine sounds bad. Yours is equally as bad. You're putting your mouth up on a mirror.
I like it because the truth is you're not going to have any variances from brushing effectiveness from brushing to brushing because
it'll be the same.
It's going to go through its cycle. It's also obviously going to have like a mouthwash cycle where it kind of rinses your mouth with like Listerine, and it can do like fluoride application. It can have, you know what I mean? It can be tailored to your needs as a brusher.
Is it fast?
So I'm thinking it's going to take 1 minute to 2 minutes.
Okay.
It's a long time to stand and look at yourself.
Yeah, it might be a little uncomfortable to be like 6 inches from the mirror.
Why does it have to stick to the mirror?
I don't. That's just the best way I could think of to.
It can look like a ball gag.
I was assuming with like the amount of technology that needed to go in there, like you did need a pretty big mount for it. This, might be hard to fit all the car wash mechanics into like a handhold item.
Yeah, you might hear some power equipment behind us. That's actually the mouthwash running.
We have a test device in the room right now.
You guys are prototyping over there.
No, we're having a fence put in right now by Stephanie's father.
It's like a jackhammer.
Yeah, I don't know what he's doing.
All right. Are you ready for mine?
Yeah, let's hear it.
Okay. So I want to start with a question. What's the strongest muscle in the human body?
Your tongue.
I was going to say the same.
Yes. Actually, it's not, but a lot of people think it is, and so I'm going to use that.
Isn't it like for not the square footage of it, but like isn't it
relatively
it's
speaking.
not like as strong as your legs, but if your muscle, like if your tongue were as big as your legs.
I think I oh my God. I don't know if I can recover from that. If your tongue were as big as your legs.
Like your quad.
Yeah, I think we get what you're trying to say. If you're,
if they were the same
if
proportion.
your tongue and your legs were the same size,
per unit
your tongue
mass,
would be stronger.
I think the reason that technically doctors say no is because the tongue is not one muscle. It's made up of multiple, so it's a little bit of a a cop out. But the goal here is for you to think, yeah, the tongue is a very strong muscle. Okay. And I'm going to take advantage of that in what I'm calling the tongue twister. Okay.
Good name.
Yeah, thank you. This is a thin cover that attaches to your tongue and uses layers of micro bristles to clean your teeth. So you apply this or attach this to your tongue, and then apply a small dab of toothpaste, and then inside your mouth you let your tongue do all the work. And you and you
brush up on your tongue skin.
I want everyone listening to do this. You can use your tongue to reach every part of your teeth, or you should be able to. And so the idea is now you've just got a little attachment here that helps get some real brushing action, and you just use that with your mouth closed to get every, corner of your mouth.
Okay.
And I mean, I think I had two concepts. Like, one was going to be reusable because I don't really like the whole disposable culture we have going on, but there will be a disposable model because I think this is a good travel item.
Okay.
So, I like this idea. I don't know how well it would work, but it did solve the need for multitasking. You no longer need to use your hands. It's all about. Go ahead.
My hands would do a better job. Not gonna lie. Like, I know that I can get all the spots in my mouth, but I touch my hand. I trust my hand more than my tongue.
I think the thing is, I think people don't realize, like, you get better at it. Just like you had to learn to use a toothbrush, you need to learn to use your tongue.
You're brushing up on your tongue skills.
Yeah. There's a lot of opportunity for creative slogans.
Yes.
With yours. So many that I don't even want to try to come up with one.
I did read that another reason this is a good idea is the tongue as a muscle doesn't fatigue like other muscles do. So, for 2 minutes or however long you need to do it, you can use your tongue.
I'm restraining myself so much here. Continue.
And so I don't know. I like the idea. And per usual, when I come up with one of these, I think we all do this. I try and research to see, is this original? Has someone thought of it? And I found one paper titled "Preventing Tooth Decay with Your Tongue" by this doctor. And I thought, this actually
lick a lot.
Yeah. And I thought, this might actually already be a thing. So I tried to click the link, and it was like a broken web page. Like, I couldn't get to it, which I thought was a little odd. But I was able to get like a cached version of the page.
Okay.
And I started reading it, and he says, now the tongue is a much ignored organ. Most people use it for eating and tasting, and after a meal, they use a toothbrush to clean their teeth. But the tongue itself is a toothbrush. And I'm like, yes. Thank you, right? And I kept reading it. I was like, this is it. I have, the evidence. His idea was not to use an attachment, but just to use baking soda. A lot of toothpastes use that. And just to put that on your tongue and basically use your tongue to smear baking soda around your teeth.
Oh, that sounds really enjoyable.
Sounds chalky.
Yeah. I don't know how effective it is. But anyway, the real reason I got to this article is I kept reading. And let me just read another quote here. If you're an average American over 50 years old, then half of your teeth are already gone from 50 years of eating from the troughs of the Jewish junk food industry.
The what?
Right. So I stopped and I read that, and I was the Jewish junk food industry. I actually
didn't know that was a thing.
I Googled. I was like, is that a thing I don't know of? Like, what are they talking about here? And so I just kept reading, and it got kind of weirder and weirder. And I got to the bottom, and it said, first published in the Chinese Swastika newsletter, your source of secret Aryan and Chinese knowledge.
Wow, you ventured to a very strange place on the internet.
I got into a dark corner of the internet, for sure. And I thought, and this is by, or presumably a real doctor. It's said by a doctor.
So these are Chinese Nazis.
Who apparently have a newsletter. And they're using it to talk about oral health.
Oral health and trying to take over the Chinese junk food Sorry, the Jewish junk food
industry. Yeah.
Industry, which
I was so confused by that. I was reading that and just like, is there an actual industry that I don't know about? Turns out not the case, just a bunch of racists.
All right. Well, do us a favor and don't link that anywhere.
Yeah, I won't tweet this one.
I like that the page wasn't even live. You had to find a cached version.
Yeah, I think Google probably took it down for good reason.
Yeah. All right. I like that, and I did think for a second when I was trying to come up with my idea. What if we just eliminated the brush and we just improved the paste to be, like more abrasive in some way? I didn't think like why not just put a dab of it on your tongue and use your tongue?
Yeah. I think there needs to be a lot more study to say whether or not some of these would be effective.
All right. Well, I'm going to go next week without my toothbrush.
Oh, God.
Just kidding. All right. So we have a few ideas out there. I like that we were all kind of on different pages with it. Time to Play has someone died using it. And Jesse, you've done the research?
Yes.
So it'll be Steph and I taking a guess as to whether or not someone has died for half the point and how it may have happened for the other half of the point. What is the score? Do you have any idea?
I feel like we've screwed it up the last few times. I think it might be...
Isn't it tied?
I feel like it's 2-1 you. We'll have to look it up.
I'm happy to say it's 2-1 me. I think that might be right, actually.
All right.
We'll verify, but let's go on the assumption that it's 2-1 currently.
Okay.
So to take a monumental lead here, what do you think? Has somebody died, Steph, using a toothbrush?
I've been thinking about this, and I'm torn. Because, someone could maybe have been electrocuted by one, but they're all waterproof. So I feel like someone couldn't get electrocuted by it. And then I thought about a sign in my dentist office. Because there's a lot of bacteria in your mouth. And if that bacteria from your mouth gets somewhere where there's a cut, then it can cause you to get infections.
Yes, and you can also, as we were discussing, get heart disease from a toothbrush.
Yeah, it's a very long, slow death.
So I don't know, Dorn. What do you think?
I'm going to say first and foremost, yes, somebody has died by toothbrush. As far as how it could have happened, I considered could somebody have choked on a toothbrush? Like they're brushing and then maybe they sneeze, hit their face on the mirror, and it gets lodged into their throat.
But that's a long thing to get stuck in your throat. It's not small. So maybe one of those Colgate Wisp things that you brush in the car with.
The little travel ones.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Maybe one of those, but
I don't know if it's fair to
assume.
No, fair to call that a toothbrush.
Oh, yeah.
With regards to this game.
True.
All right, I need a final answer.
I don't think someone has.
Uh-oh.
I feel like you're getting really sad.
I don't know. Do we have to say the same thing?
Yeah, we have to give an answer.
You're going to need to come to a compromise.
All right. I'm gonna say,
Jason said yes, so...
Yeah, we're going to say yes.
And if I actually was right, then I'm going to hold this over your head.
How did you say it happened?
How did I say? I didn't think that someone...
Yeah, she's the one saying it hasn't happened.
I think maybe someone could have gotten an infection from a toothbrush, but I don't think someone died.
All right, I'm going to say somebody's toothbrush picked up some sort of fatal bacteria, and they brushed it into their mouth, got into their gums, and they died of chlamydia or something.
You can die from chlamydia.
I don't know.
I think you used to be able to, yeah.
So that's my final answer. Infection caused by toothbrush led to death.
Okay. I don't want to pull us astray, but I do have to bring up one thing I found on Kickstarter that was just a cleaner for a toothbrush, and their title was "Poop Germs on My Toothbrush."
Well, that's the thing. Mythbusters tested it that when you flush the toilet, poop particles actually are flying around the bathroom, and they do in fact land on your toothbrush.
Yeah, I just really like that they use that. Poop germs on my toothbrush. They were not successful, unfortunately.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. So I am happy to say that you were wrong. I could not find an instance of death.
Ah, damn it.
By toothbrush. So congratulations, Stephanie.
Thanks.
Hold it over me.
I am.
Yeah. I will say a lot of injuries. Around 2,800 people are treated annually for toothbrush-related injuries.
That's when it gets lodged in their throat. They didn't die. It got lodged.
Like they stabbed themselves?
It is like most commonly like contusions or bruising and puncture wounds from like falling and tripping while you have a toothbrush in your mouth.
Yeah, like somebody opens the door into it.
Yeah, exactly. You said you walk around while brushing your teeth, so if you ever just tripped.
I could be one of those 2,800 people.
Yeah.
Just don't die.
Yeah.
Right.
If I did, though, it wouldn't be in vain because you wouldn't be able to hold it over me.
Because someone died using the toothbrush.
Worth it. I found a few instances of, like you said, people who have swallowed toothbrushes.
The whole thing?
Yeah, I'm confused on how that happens.
I'm not surprised.
It's like sword swallowing.
How deep are you brushing? That is a risk.
Maybe if they were brushing their tonsils, or
yeah, I guess so.
Like top of their esophagus a little bit.
I think the closest I found was a girl who accidentally swallowed a toothbrush, and it actually punctured her large intestine, and it had to be removed surgically, but she had no further complication.
Ah, geez, she very well could have died.
Honestly, if that had happened, 100 years ago, she probably would have died. But we have the technology to save people like that now, for better or worse.
Thank goodness.
Yeah.
All right. So that leaves the score at 2-1. We think we'll have to check that and update you for episode 9, perhaps. And that's going to wrap up today's episode on the toothbrush of That Just Might Work. I think that was a good topic.
I'm going to go brush my teeth.
I know. I feel like I'm getting a really dry mouth. I've been talking about my mouth so much.
Yep.
Didn't think to have any water with me for this episode. A couple of final thoughts to leave you with. Don't forget you can follow us on social media. Facebook and Instagram, it's at That Just Might Work. On Twitter, at TJMW Podcast. No word from Tyler Womack, at TJMW on Twitter. Feel free to follow him, but don't let him know that we sent you. We encourage you to send us your ideas for show topics. If you have any questions, if you hate us and you want to let us know, feedback at thatjustmightworkpodcast.com. I applaud you if you hate us and you listened all the way through this hour-long episode.
Yeah.
And you can check us out online at thatjustmightworkpodcast.com. And Stephanie, I want to thank you for joining us on this episode.
Thanks for having me.
Join us next week. You never know, we might be talking about your favorite everyday item.